Hello and welcome to 1001 Reviews. I'm Yusuff,
Elliot,
and this is our book reviewing series.
that we just started.
Yeah, this is review number one of 1001.
Alright.
So, today we have Dreams
Dreams.
and Shadows, a book by C. Robert Cargil. A novel. Well,
Yeah.
you know what's crazy? I still honestly do not know the difference.
Is there a difference?
Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Anyways, before we get into the book, let's talk about our author for today.
Yep.
C. Robert Cargill is, I think, Austin. Honestly, I know this guy through his website called Spill, which is no longer around.
Yeah.
He was a film critic once, but I'm pretty sure more people would know him more for his work in movies.
Lately.
Sinister 2, and coming out soon, Doctor Strange.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so he has a pretty good track record.
Yes,
So
he
for
does.
those of you who don't know, he also fancies himself as a writer. I mean, not fancies himself as. I mean, he straight up is a writer.
Is a writer. Yep.
So this is part of, well, what do you say, trilogy? Since
It's a biology.
biology, if that's a thing. So Dreams and Shadows is
It's a book.
biology, if that's how you want to call it. And honestly, it's a very interesting read. If you know Cargill or like any of his works, you would definitely enjoy it.
Right.
It's dark, a little gritty. So
Comedic.
you can read it, but not for a young audience and not for the light of heart. Seriously, if you've seen Sinister, come on.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I would say go out and read it, and I'm telling you that right now because this is it's a spoiler review. So
Correct.
we are gonna get into the finer details of this book.
Right.
So I'd recommend it. Let's just give it a rating right now on the scale system, 4 stars out of 5. It's a very enjoyable book.
Indeed.
All right, so let's get into it. So Dreams and Shadows is, well, at the start, it's split into 2 parts.
Correct.
There's a, would you call it a prologue or just more of a,
I would just call it the first part.
Just the first part. So the first part does start us and introduces us to these 2 parents. Dang, I forgot
The Thatchers.
The Thatchers. I was gonna try to remember their names. It was Lawrence Thatcher and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on names. So let's just call them the Thatchers.
Yeah.
And there's just these 2 star-crossed I'm using that word wrong.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
There are these 2 loving people who grew up, wound up getting married, and had the perfect little boy.
Who just unfortunately happened to be kidnapped by a Bendith Amame.
Yes, named Dithers.
Yeah. And in the place, the boy was replaced with a changeling.
Who tormented the mother and the father.
Until the mother committed suicide, the father attempted to drown the boy. He, in turn, was killed by, what did they call those fairies? The lake ones.
Oh, these names are complicated.
Yeah. These are. I'm not really good with all this like fairy mythology.
Yeah.
That's not where my strengths lie. I'm more of like Roman, Greek, not all this fairy stuff.
This goes into the other parts of Europe.
Yeah. The Scandinavian stuff.
But no matter what, they all ended up in
America.
Austin, Texas.
Yes, this book is set in Austin, Texas. I think they weren't in Austin for like a few parts, but they were all around. The whole thing is set in Austin, Texas. So, anyways, the story is the first part is about the little baby.
Ewan.
Ewan?
Yes.
Ewan. Okay, so I didn't read the book. I had the audiobook.
Right.
So the audiobook was, I just go by what the audiobook tells me.
What do you say?
He said Ewan. He said Ewan. That's what the audiobook guy was saying.
So Ewan then.
Ewan. So
Ewan.
I'm just going to go by what the audiobook guy says.
All right.
I listened, not read. So
Ewan is taken back to the village of the fairies, the Limestone Kingdom, and is brought up as one of the fairies.
Yeah, given fairy milk and whatnot.
Yes.
Raised. At the same time, the little changeling boy is brought up by the fish fairies, who I'm just like, the name is just escaping me. I should really have a copy of the book right here in front of me.
But yeah, and he's raised by them.
And
We go forward a few years, and we're not with the little boy or the changeling anymore. We are with Kobe Stevens,
who's just
who's just a little 8-year-old boy whose mother is a Rolling Stone.
Don't, come on, it's wrong.
She is Yusuff. You can't do anything.
She's not the best. But honestly, okay, here's something I'm gonna say right now.
Yeah.
So did we ever find out like what happens with her? Does she never file a missing persons report? Cause her son goes missing.
Yeah.
Like Kobe, so Kobe's just a normal kid, doesn't really have much in the way of anything,
Yeah.
really. He's just this poor kid who plays in the woods by
Yeah.
himself. He meets
Yashar.
a jinn. I was gonna say genie, but he's a jinn
Yes.
named Yashar who promises to grant him a wish. And Kobe, being fascinated with the idea that genies exist, monsters exist.
Says some very racist things.
What racist then?
He asked about the bottle. He asked where Yashar's bottle was.
Oh, it's prejudiced against jinn kind.
Yeah, it's like asking a Jewish person where the shower is. You can't. That's inappropriate for reasons you don't understand.
Yeah, so his wish is to see everything, and this makes it so Yashar wants to take him around everywhere. Which honestly, I didn't understand why that instantaneously meant Yashar had to take him until later on, and I get it. It was all part of the plan.
Yep.
But yeah, so he's taken along on this like journey everywhere, which again, like we never find out what happens back at home. Did his mother file a missing persons report? Does she even care? It's like I believe that she slightly cares for this child of hers.
Oh man.
So I don't know what happens with that. We never do find out. But Kobe eventually comes across the Limestone Kingdom when he meets Ewan, and
they hit it off real quick. But
yeah.
before the two meet, we get to meet.
What are you to talk about? You talking about Abraham? Because I do not want to go into that.
No.
That was Cargil being a bully.
Yeah. But here's the thing about fairies. They live a long time, and they feed off of different emotions depending on the type of fairy they are.
Mm-hmm.
The fairies that Dithers, the foster father of Ewan, was raised with, they live off of suffering.
Mm-hmm. And they just.
It's like that situation you see in fiction, where there's a bunch of kids out in the woods. Now you see it from the monster's point of view.
Yeah, it's basically that. It's like a horror movie setup where some idiots go camping in a place they shouldn't be, and they all just get attacked and slowly killed. And then we're seeing this from the monsters hunting them perspective. And of course, to them, this is all natural. It's just like hunting a deer, hunting a rabbit.
Just squirrels trying to get their nuts, you know?
Yeah, basically. No real evil behind it, just a need to survive. And that's kind of how a lot. But the fairies are usually presented in a very black or white scenario, as in either they're all good or they're all bad. All bad. And it's just like that happens at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, and there's no middle ground.
There's really no middle ground to them. They're kind of irrational like that.
Yeah.
And it does help too. And one of the best things I will set up, this book does a great job of creating lore.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And one of the best ways it does that is rather than just have a character come up and just like say all these things, it has these little sections in it where it's like another book written by
Dr. Thaddeus Ray.
Yeah. And it's just like his book on the studies of these fairies and their behaviors and all that stuff. And that's how you're presented with your background information. So we don't have any clunky moments where a character just breaks from the story to explain their nature.
Right.
It's very well done.
You have a section. It's actually a very pleasant sort of alternative to natural narration in a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't distract. It doesn't take away from the story because it's its own segment, like separate from the chapters.
Yeah, like you read the chapter where Yashar appears and talks to Kobe, but then following that you get a chapter written by Thaddeus Ray about the mannerisms of genies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very well done. So from there, we learn about how the fairies hunt, how they take all the stuff. They've been teaching Ewan how to do basically everything their way.
Nox has been growing up salty. Nox being the changeling.
The changeling, which is something I was very surprised about. Like even at the earlier point in the book.
Yeah.
So when I first read the beginning, I assumed like that whole changeling thing, and that was just going to be like far off into the future. But no, it's like the two of them have been growing up in very close proximity to each other because this is a weird occurrence. Normally what's supposed to happen is they take the baby, they leave the changeling behind. The changeling usually dies.
Yeah.
Because nobody would care for it. But Nox is a special case since he was found by these little fish fairies. I just can't remember the names. He found by these fish fairies, and he was raised by them, still in proximity to the Limestone Kingdom. At the same time, Ewan, who was supposed to be taken back to these fairy parents, was
Yeah.
instead became what they called the Tithe Child, which is like he's basically a sacrifice.
The sacrifice which helps them maintain their
Yeah,
immortality.
So he's raised as one of the fairies
Yeah.
up until the point where he will be sacrificed. Of course, he doesn't know this at the time.
Yeah, the younger people of their generation don't know it. And this is another interesting thing about the story.
Mhm.
They are sacrificing Ewan to the devil,
Yes,
like the actual devil.
like the straight up devil. Yes.
Yes. So that's the thing. It takes different things from different religions and cultures all around the world, and it tries its best to put them all together. There's a segment where there are segments where it refers to evolution and the Ice Age, but there are also segments where it talks about Christianity or whatever culture all these fairies come from.
Yeah. All the fairies. And the thing about the fairies is it's what I like to call Topa mythology, which is not a Topa is a spirit in which its power and existence is based on belief.
Right.
So it's something as a lot of people believe in one thing that then becomes real. That's what's called a Topa. So this kind of follows what I like to call Topa mythology, which is these things exist mainly because people believe they exist. And
Yes. Their weaknesses are what we believe their weaknesses are, and their strengths are what we believe their strengths are.
Yeah, they're all beings of they're beings of imagination,
Right.
made of dream stuff, as the book refers to it.
Yes.
So, while before Kobe's visit to Ewan, something occurs known as the Wild Hunt,
Yes.
which is when spirits from hell
Come up.
and exact whatever
Vengeance.
petty vengeance they might have. And of course,
Judith. That's it. Judith Thatcher.
Judith Thatcher. Was it Judith Thatcher?
I'm pretty sure it's Judith Thatcher.
The book gets a lot of mileage out of her.
Yes.
Thatcher.
Judith
'Cause
Thatcher.
Honestly, at the beginning, okay, here's something I like about the way Cargil writes.
Yeah.
All right, so when it comes to setup, nobody would blame you if you just say a man and a woman met together and they had the kid Ewan, because Ewan is the main star. Nobody would blame you if you kept their love story short and just to the point.
Right.
But Cargo goes out of his way to give like these characters, like even minor, unimportant, just there to be killed characters, like just a lot of backstory for you to understand who these people are, like he did with Abraham, which was just this poor, unfortunate, just sad.
Even in death, he couldn't catch a break.
Yeah, and it gives you that. And there was also the other guy, the dude with the weird opinion about women.
Him.
Yeah, there was another guy later on in the story where he gets a lot of detail before, and he's not really that important, but like Cargill goes out of his way to give like detail and background to all these characters, and he does the same with Ewan's parents. So the Wild Hunt, one of the head of the Wild Hunt this time around is Ewan's mother,
Yes.
Judith Thatcher, Miss Thatcher. I'm gonna call her Thatcher because I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So
And their description was awesome. Imagine it as a bunch of Grim Reapers with swords instead of sais, who ride on goats the size of horses and have dogs.
demon dogs
Yeah.
by their sides, and they're just like these Wild Hunt just grows through the forest, just tearing it up, looking for
Anything to kill.
yeah, basically. But Miss Thatcher's goal is one of the little fish fairies that killed her husband.
Right.
That's her exacting her revenge, and she kills this fish fairy right in front of Nox, the one that's been raised by them, which gives him even more of a
reason to hate. Oh yeah.
all the Ewan.
That's something we forgot to mention about Nox. Being a changeling, you don't just get replaced. You don't just get a changeling and replace it. The changeling molds its appearance
based on the child that it sees for like a second, and because they have excellent memories.
Yes.
Also, the changeling is basically an aborted or a stillborn. He's a stillborn fairy child.
Yes.
So that is brought back to life.
Yeah. By his mother's love, but at the same time, the mothers are usually so repulsed by the changeling, they try to send it away.
Yeah.
So over the course of this story, Nox has 3 sets of parents.
His first fairy parents that gave birth to him.
Yes.
The Thatchers that he tormented, and then the fish merman that he actually cares for.
Right.
So yeah, so he loses the only parents he actually seems to like out of all the sets of parents he has.
By the end, they're all dead.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Here's something I told you about this when I finished reading it. Basically, every single character that appeared in the first half of the book, minus Kobe,
Is
died. What?
Yashar?
Yashar. Yeah, yeah, Yashar. Kobe and Yashar. So basically, every prologue character is dead. I'm talking about basically every
Oh,
character that
main
was.
characters.
Yeah, every main character that was used to establish the Thatchers, the Fish Mermaids, Nox, Ewan, all dead.
Yeah.
It's actually, I don't know if that's like was done purposefully or not, but it was just like, huh, how about that? Everybody we started the story with does not finish the story with us. So yes, Nox loses his real mother, blames Ewan, and that's when Kobe appears, and he's just after him and Ewan just kind of hit it off, and he's
Yeah.
telling them all about like the fairy stuff, and he's promising them about real world stuff, which I was like, man, growing up in the forest must suck. Didn't even know what Aladdin was. Come on. He really didn't know nothing. No, it was a nice kids get along moment, but of course, since they showed up like right after this disaster happens, the council meets, and this is when we first get a real intro. We met the character earlier, but we can't go on talking about this series without referring to Coyote.
My man's Coyote. You know what blew me though?
What?
Like I've already started reading the second book, like you know.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Coyote was an actual person. Like I thought he was a coyote.
What? You thought he was just a walking, talking coyote?
Yeah,
They called him the old man when he was introduced.
Yeah, I figured because he was an old coyote.
Why would they call him the old man?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, so Coyote is he's just a trickster.
He's based on the Native American description of coyotes.
Yeah, he's just the oldest, not the oldest. He's just the smartest guy in the room, so to speak.
Yes.
Just knows what's going on more so than the others, and like just manipulates events to his entertainment.
The way they describe it is if he opens his mouth to say something, you're in trouble. But if he stays quiet, it's still trouble.
Yeah, he's just somebody you can't really win against.
You can't be around.
Yeah, he's best left outside of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
He's that sort of person. So there's a meeting in the kingdom, and we meet what they call the five. What was it? The five stones.
The five stone council.
The five stone council, yeah, and they're all discussing what to do with Kobe, and they come to the consensus through sort of Coyote's manipulation that they should kick the child Kobe out because his arrival is just not
planned.
Yeah. So they plan to kick him out, but at the same time, Coyote goes to Ewan and Kobe, wakes them up, tells them that Kobe has to leave, and encourages them to go out and have more fun at the night.
Yeah.
So as they go out and have fun in the night, another member of the council, God, what was his name? The Red Cap, which are these murder fairies.
Yes, they're elves who murder.
Yeah, they have to dip their hats in blood in order to stay alive.
Right.
The leader of their group decides, well, let's just straight up kill the human and eat them. And like, why not?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And Nox wants to join them. So what he does is he goes and he finds his fairy birth parents.
Fairy parents, yeah.
Takes them out.
Yeah, and dips a cap in it and becomes a honorary red cap.
He joins their gang.
Yeah, he basically joins their gang.
He can hang with the cholos.
Don't call him that. And he goes out and he
tries to kill Kobe and Ewan.
Yeah, but Kobe unleashes a can of whoop ass.
Yeah,
surprisingly.
Kobe knows biblical scripture, which is their weakness, and Ewan is just physically stronger than Nox. So that
it just doesn't work out.
And all it does is make Ewan's young love interest Molly all that more infatuated.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Molly. We completely forgot. Molly is what did they call
Lean and she.
Lean she.
Yes.
Which is a type of fairy. Not a nymph, a muse, I suppose.
Yes.
She's basically a muse, except the thing is, once the muse leaves you, you just die.
For various reasons, but you die.
So she's just the prettiest girl around. Of course, Nox likes her, but she likes Ewan. And it didn't help that during the wild hunt, Ewan saved her life. So she liked. And then just more and more, they get closer. Nox gets farther away, and he just keeps getting angrier and angrier. And
That's the thing about Nox. He just kept getting angry.
yeah, he just kept getting angry and like you would think his rage would have a cap, but he just kept having more and more reason to hate this guy.
Yeah, I mean he was like that's the thing about Nox that I like.
Mhm.
He was constantly dealt a bad hand. Like he was always the victim.
No, okay, no. Let's not act like he was the victim when he was torturing Miss Thatcher.
Okay.
Nox literally feeds on hatred.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's
Yeah.
not.
But he was always dealt a bad hand,
Mhm.
and yet he always chose to get angry about it
Yeah.
rather than think it out.
No, because he wasn't a rational individual. I
Yeah.
think if your food source is negative emotions, you wouldn't really be a joyful person. No, I do like how he gets his food later on. So, Kobe is asked to leave after the whole incident.
And Kobe asks Yashar what exactly is going to happen to Ewan.
Finds out he's going to be sacrificed, and Kobe makes his second wish, which promptly actually kickstart the real story, which he wishes to become a wizard.
Yes.
And here's okay. I'm not sure how I feel about this one.
You know? How do you?
So the way to describe being it's the way the book treats wizardry, and I'm not really a fan of that.
Really?
No, I'm not.
Okay, here's what happened.
Mhm.
To become a wizard, Yashar had to whisper the secrets of the universe to Kobe. And he had to Kobe being young and impressionable
Yeah.
was able to accept them, accept what most adults would take with a grain of salt, and that is that the entirety of existence is basically God's changing dream, and that once you realize that, you can manipulate the energies or dream stuff in the world to shape your environment.
Yeah. I don't know what my exact problem with it is, but I suppose it. Okay, this is gonna sound stupid, and I admit it sounds
Your
stupid.
opinion's your opinion.
All right, it lacks magic. That's my opinion. It lacks magic. It's a very dumb thing to say. I don't like when I like nonsense opinions, like nonsense criticisms, but that's my nonsense criticism. That explanation of wizardry lacks like magic. It lacks the flair and the wonder
I see.
that I really need, that I like to see in my magical explanations.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You like there to be some sort of ancient soul that was
No, I like there to be an energy behind it, like
chakra.
mana. I like mana, like stuff like that. That's how I like my magic. But to each their own. It doesn't take away that much from the overall story.
Oh no.
Because with this dream stuff, then Kobe goes back to the village, turns the red cap dude into just a pile of flowers, which seems to be his go-to.
Yeah, this is go-to.
This is go-to.
Poofing people
People into flowers.
or feathers or whatever.
Yeah, this is just what he does.
Yep.
So he saves. They tell Ewan that he's supposed to be sacrificed. Fine, shock and awe, and they just take him away. Also, here's the thing the book always seems to do. Whenever there's a confrontation in the book,
Yeah.
it's always it's never a this would be 100% work or this one 100% work. It's always a standoff. It's always what would the other person do to make this situation not as violent as it's gonna be.
I guess I can sort of see that.
I'm saying everybody comes to the field usually at an even plane. Like, sort of. It's never like, okay, if I start this trouble, I'm gonna walk away completely clean. That's what I mean.
Oh, I see.
Kobe isn't so strong that he can just push around everybody else. Or
Yeah.
nobody's that strong in this world.
In fact, Yashar, immediately after Yashar gave Kobe the powers, Kobe went to save Ewan. But when he was going to save him, Yashar was cowering behind Kobe because he knew he couldn't take that many fairies at once, even if he was stronger than them.
Yeah. It was a numbers game.
Yeah.
And so they save Ewan, and okay. This is probably the part I had the biggest problem with.
Forgetting.
The forgetting.
Okay.
So they save Ewan, they drop him off at an orphanage,
Yeah.
and then we fast forward, but Ewan forgets. Forgets like all of it.
Because humans who are taken by fairies, even if they're raised by fairies, will eventually just come to forget.
Yeah, and I'm not honestly. That's the lowest point because I feel like he could have remembered, and we could have still had a lot of the same things happen. Molly could have still came to him in a disguise. He would have known it was her.
All right.
Red Caps could have still attacked. A lot of the things, him and Kobe would have still been friends. I just feel as though the forgetting was kind of unnecessary.
I don't think, like I said, I'm reading the second book right now, and I don't think that forgetting was. I don't think the forgetting was for Ewan. I think it's more actually for Kobe because he needs to be away on his adventures.
No, 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 no. I'm not saying I don't like in the. I'm saying story wise, I don't think it added anything.
All right. I can picture what you're saying. I see what you mean.
No, no, I'm saying the story could have still went on with him being able to remember, and I feel it would have been. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's just like my least favorite part of this book. It's the part I don't like.
With all we've said, we still haven't left Austin.
Yeah. Like I said, this whole thing is around Austin. Even Kobe, who travels all around the world, we don't get to see those adventures because we have to come back to when he's in Austin. Because, man, I'll be damned if this whole thing isn't set in Austin. And I sort of get it, man. That's where you grew up, that's where you like to be,
Yeah.
hey, set your book there. So, yes, we do fast forward, and it's a big fast forward.
Let me think.
How many years? They're basically adults.
14 years.
14 years. They're all adults now.
Yes.
So Kobe is, and then here's where we get into Cargil's bullying streak, because he just cannot give these characters niceness. Everybody basically just gets hit by a sack of bricks by puberty, and just all gets jacked up. Kobe has these sunken eyes. He just looks like one of those little crazy people you see on the streets of New York, or basically the streets of Austin, who just are just weird. He's one of those. Ewan, even though he had like a lot of handsome traits, he was basically just looking boy has just abused it.
Yeah.
He's covered in tattoos, all pale.
Yeah.
So yeah, they both grow up. They're still in the same city together. Kobe works at this bookstore for magic and stuff.
Ewan is a dishwasher that occasionally works with his band to lead groups that are coming to perform that night.
Yeah. So, and the name of his band, Limestone Kingdom.
Yes. You see, Ewan may have forgotten things, but he still gets dreams or visions about certain aspects of living among the fairies.
Yeah, and especially the music, which was the
Yeah.
was the best quality of the Bende Ayame Mame
Their musical talent, which he inherited from.
Ditters.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, was the one that was sacrificed in the end in Ewan's place.
Yeah.
This is,
It was. Ugh.
what? Yeah. What's
It was,
It was kind of well deserved. I didn't feel sorry for him.
you felt nothing for Dithers.
No. Listen, that was the deal.
I thought.
Honor the deal.
I was pretty sure it was just gonna be I thought for sure it was going to be a scene where he's just like, "No, I couldn't do this. Ewan's like a son to me." And
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't have that.
yeah,
So, yeah, why would I feel sorry for him? That was the arrangement. Either he brings them Ewan or he takes his place. And since Ewan was freed, he had to take his place.
yeah.
All
So
well deserved. So basically, this is where the real story actually begins.
Yes.
So Kobe's like just all now old and jaded off of, not jaded, more of,
unimpressed,
Right.
disillusioned.
yeah, disillusioned is the right word.
Yeah.
Because he's seen what the real monsters were not like what a child's imagination would have them be.
And according to him, he's seen about half of everything.
Yeah. So he's
yeah.
still not entirely done, and he's not really not say an expert. He's well versed in this world, but he's still not an expert. There are things even he still doesn't know.
Yeah.
But he has earned himself quite the reputation.
He hangs out at a bar called the Cursed and the Damned,
Mhm.
where it only serves people who are either cursed or damned. And by people, I mean fairies of different natures. It is run by he and Yashar go there a lot. It's run by a Chloricon, which is sort of like a leprechaun, but not.
Yeah. That's the thing. At first, I wasn't sure if he was if it was a shorter character until they started talking about him riding dogs. Then I was like, oh, okay. Because, like, again, I don't know much. Like, European tales and folk are not my domain.
With notable patrons of the bar being
Bill
Bill
the
the Shadow and Bertrand the Fallen Angel.
Yeah, which I do like the turn on the head with the fallen angels. It's like when he does go out and say everybody assumes fallen angels were cast out, and it's like no, they just kind of left.
Some of them they said.
Yeah, some of them
For
just
him,
left.
Bertram basically said that God's version of paradise is different from what humans imagine.
Yeah. He even describes hell as a basically saying if you can basically get away with not directly committing atrocities,
Yeah,
you're still set.
Yeah, he said well, he said that Hitler was having a good time in hell because everything evil he did was built upon the evils he made others do,
Yeah.
and they're the coals that burn to keep him comfortable.
Yeah. So it's another twist. It's a twisted take
Yeah.
on hell, and it makes you wonder if people really get their just desserts, and it does get you thinking about what's right. Though it's definitely wrong.
Yeah,
I mean,
undoubtedly.
it's downly wrong.
If you're gonna be, so this is basically saying if you're gonna be
Be
evil,
don't get other people to do your
Yeah.
dirty work. That's what it's saying, and you'll still be set. So either you can be all good or you can be all evil. Again, very black and white, which I think is the main crux of this whole thing. Is a lot of things are either black or white.
Yeah.
It does play with the gray a little, but everything it says,
the gray's for humans.
yeah, gray's for humans. Everybody else is either black or white. So we follow Ewan, and he meets this attractive girl that comes to see him play, and of course we know that is Molly, who is caught up to him after all these years. And which, again, I think this does come from the problem of it all being set in Austin.
You don't know how they could have not met each other.
Yeah, because at the same time, good old Knox is also in Austin.
Yeah.
Along with Kobe, and also
Knox,
later on we also learn Molly's mother is also in Austin.
Yeah.
It's a little too many coincidences.
Yeah. So Knox has also been living. He's been disguising himself as people, making people fall in love with him, and then just breaking their hearts to eat on their misery.
Yeah, people who usually commit suicide.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I also like that he's equal opportunity as he becomes a man or a woman.
Right.
So he doesn't pick
He doesn't
sides.
discriminate.
Doesn't pick his, everybody is good for the misery train.
And he doesn't just stop at meeting them and shaking their hands and flirting and then hooking up with
he
someone.
makes them like
He does everything.
Like he makes them full on love him.
Spend time with them, have sex with them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anything to get them to like the deepest connection. And he goes after people who don't loners, people who do not stick out in the crowd.
People who would have been perfectly fine if you just never met them.
Yeah. It's sick stuff.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what he is.
And he's still rolling with the red caps.
Yeah, kind of. So he was. Is he like their ESO fact? Because they called him the mascot before. But
Yeah,
like
but now
he looks
he's like a
their
de facto leader.
Yeah. Like just because they lost their real leader, and he just kind of tells them what to do.
Yeah.
All right, so he meets Molly, and it's kind of a lot of setup after that.
Yeah, it's a lot of setup for their romance. It's a lot of quick setup, actually.
No. I'm saying it's a lot of setup for like the whole rest of the book. Because honestly, that part, even though it was pretty long, it felt pretty fast. Like that whole part went pretty fast to me. It was like the whole Kobe going around, Coyote showing up with his little manipulatisms, just coming around, going like, "Hey, you so and so, this is what I want you to do."
The Return of the Wild Hunt.
Yeah, the Return of the Wild Hunt. Okay, this is another one. I'm sorry. It's gonna sound like I'm gonna have a lot of problems, but so the Wild Hunt comes back, and again, Miss Thatcher, because man, she is just a fighter.
Yeah.
So
each time she comes back, she's just a little bit more worn out, decomposed.
Yeah. So she comes to Kobe and tells him to free
the soul of Jarrett Thatcher.
Yeah, who is under like he's still in possession of the water fairies that got him.
Yeah.
So Kobe goes down there, breaks the jar that his soul in, frees him. He's dragged straight to hell, which I'm like, why? What I get like, is he dragged to hell because he tried to kill the changeling, or is he dragged to hell because his wife was claiming his soul?
Maybe he did other miscellaneous bad things in his life,
Or is it because he did what he did in the name of his wife? She owns possession of his soul, like the whole Hitler thing.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. I would really like to talk to Cargil about this book. So anyways, he's freed, and then there's the whole thing where he's like swimming up, and like he thinks he's about to be caught by these water fairies, and like they see him, and like they're terrified of him.
Yes, everyone is terrified of the sorcerer boy who terrorized the Limestone Kingdom during their tithe.
Yeah, but it's like he doesn't really know how scary he is to them because in turn he too is scared of them.
Yeah.
Like it's more of an issue with him of not knowing how strong he is. So
To me it's almost like let's say you were a guy who went to the gym every day for like a year, and you're put in a room, and there's a door on the other side, and they say whoever someone is on the other side of that door, you've never met them before, but they're going to fight you. You don't know how strong they are. You can't really gauge their strength.
yeah, yeah, it's sort of like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how strong he is in relative to how strong they are. Who can beat who?
Yeah. All we know for a fact is he and Yashar don't want to mess with them because they have the numbers, but they don't want to mess with him because
he has the power.
Right.
Yeah. He's more powerful, but I think it's like maybe like a fire in the forest. He can burn down a few trees, but I think eventually he could be snuffed out.
Right.
Yeah. So from there it's a lot of Ewan and Molly, who's still she's under her disguise. What was her disguise? Nora. She's under the disguise of Nora, just this normal girl, and they're getting along. Meanwhile, like Kobe's doing all this like holy war setup, which like he just seems like he's being dragged into like a bigger and bigger conflict.
Right.
And then he meets the angel who tells him if he's on the right side of things, he'll have support.
Yeah, he'll get the other drunk angels to help him out.
Yeah. So
drunk angels.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen that somewhere. All right. So it's basically that for a while until Knox finally shows up to exact his revenge.
Yes. He gets Molly's mother, who
is currently doing her thing with another guy. And the thing about their species is when they meet a guy, they are genuinely in love.
Yeah.
So she had no qualms with betraying her daughter to save this guy who we never see. Right. And it's like, oh man, that is harsh. Yeah. Harsh. So she sells her daughter. Knox uses Nora then to get
out
Ewan. And then in this scuffle, Ewan with the red caps, Ewan takes a red cap, kills it, and puts on the cap. And this because back when he was a child, when he was being ready to be sacrificed, he was slowly being turned into a fairy. But they never did the final steps.
Right.
So it was like just waiting. It was for him to decide, and by putting on the red cap, he decided to be a red cap.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate. Just did not catch a break with the looks department. That's my problem. I don't know why that's such a thing with me, but yeah, because red
all
caps
your
are
main
just
characters got to be pretty.
Not all
heroes got to be attractive. Villains got to be unattractive.
It's an old rule of storytelling, Elliot. It's a very old rule. Heroes are attractive, villains are ugly. Just as old as time. Everybody knows this. Anyways, so he's now a murderer. Basically, red caps cannot resist the urge to kill.
Right.
They need the blood to stay alive. They need to dye their caps in blood. Which, I don't know. I feel like at that point, kind of go to a blood bank?
Yeah.
Go to a blood bank, maybe? Rob a blood bank.
So yeah, Ewan starts putting stuff together, and Kobe, who he's actually been staying in contact with, he gets pissed at Kobe.
Rightfully so, because honestly, I feel, like I said, I had a whole problem with the memory erasing thing, and I feel like there was no real reason for Kobe himself to keep the memories away. I mean, I understand it's not something you can naturally just bring up in conversation. Like, right. Hey, yo, remember when you lived with those fairies in the woods and they were like straight up just gonna kill your ass? It's like, just like, what? What are you talking about? Yeah. Like when you were a kid, right? You were kidnapped from your parents, you lived with fairies, and they were just gonna straight up kill you for their sacrifice.
But forget that. You remember how I turned that one guy into a bouquet?
Yeah, I can still do that. I'm magic. It was just like, it's not a natural conversation, so I get like, and I'd like they don't make too big of a deal out of it. Not like it wasn't so he got so mad that he went off and went to go do something stupid. He already did the stupid thing, which was putting on the red cap, but that was kind of already sealed his fate. I mean, he was kind of done.
Yeah.
because the book did foreshadow his death earlier on when his mother, as one of the Wild Hunts, sees him with Molly and says she will be the death of you. Which honestly,
not
she
an act.
wasn't
Yeah.
exactly, but it was still it's still some bit of foreshadowing.
Okay, I see. I guess a little bit.
Yeah. So basically, now that Ewan has killed a Redcap, the council is decided that
Ewan must die.
yeah, because they have that whole oh, you can never kill one of their own.
Yeah.
They're very tight like that.
Yeah.
So they put out the hit on Ewan, but Molly goes to vouch for him.
So does Kobe.
Yeah, so does Kobe. These two are vouching for him. But while they're doing that, Ewan's still feeling the bloodlust, goes out and he goes to kill the remaining two water.
3.
There was 3? There was 4 of them?
Yeah, there were 4 of them.
Okay, so he kills the remaining
3
water fairies, which was basically the last bit of family Nox had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which again, just constant motivation for Nox throughout the whole series. Like anytime you were like, okay, man, his anger can die down just a little bit. It's like, nope, and then something else happens. Keep just like throwing fuel to the fire constantly with this character. So he kills those people, so that just revokes completely his safe passage.
Oh yeah.
So at the same time, Nox finds this out and he's like, well, he's just rightfully pissed. So he goes over. It's finally time for him to do the deed. He's just gonna straight up go and kill Ewan. He goes to his apartment disguised as Molly.
Right.
Ewan figures this out and they start to fight. And at the same time, Molly's returning back to him. And well, you can see where this is going. Yeah. She looks like herself. Nox was just looking like her. So the
Ewan
moment
kills Molly.
Yeah, just kills her. Right there. And then when he notices a mistake, Nox just sticks around and just feeds off the hate. Yes. Which is that's some cold hard. Yeah. So Nox escapes afterwards after he enjoys his little small victory.
Yeah.
And Kobe shows up and of course does his thing and turns Molly into flowers because he just dude just loves
loves watching it. He just loves watching them flutter away.
I don't know what is up with him with flowers. That's like he just has to do it. And then the two of them basically start planning that like, okay, now it's gonna be them versus the entire Limestone Kingdom because the Limestone armies, about half of them is going to go straight up murder Ewan, which is like overkill, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, like Dad used to say, ain't no kill like overkill.
So a lot of fighting ensues.
It's like the angels come to join.
Build a shadow. The Chloricon.
Yeah, they help. They stick with Kobe and
Gossamer.
Oh, Gossamer. Gossamer, you awesome pet, you. Gossamer is just a dog that
that old Scraps the Chloricon just
rides into battle.
Yeah.
And Gossamer is just awesome. So I don't know why I love dogs and stories like this where they just do their thing.
Oh, you're gonna love him in the next one.
Oh, so the the battle goes on, and basically, it was kind of fairly even until like the angels start losing. The old Scraps dies.
Yeah.
And it's starting to become a hard fought battle, and so at some point, Ewan and Nox are all alone, and they start fighting, but this time Nox is, fueled by rage. He
takes out Ewan.
Yeah, he straight up kind of kills him.
Yeah.
In a very pathetic manner. He did not get like this heroic death. Surprisingly, Nox gets the heroic death.
You call that a heroic death?
Not a heroic death. It's more of it's a better way to go out than crawling on the floor trying
with
to
your guts
spilling out. Yeah.
Okay, so Kobe, rightfully pissed, calls open the gates of hell.
So the Wild Hunt can take out Nox.
Yes, but it's not just Judith Thatcher this time. She also has Jarrett Thatcher and an unnamed Bendith Imome.
Clearly Ditters. Yeah. Most likely. So it's basically just all the people that Nox had wronged come back and stomp him out. Yeah. But Nox kind of goes out more accepting of his death than Ewan. So I'm not saying this is necessarily a heroic death.
He accomplished everything he wanted to.
Yeah, he won, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
He won.
All he ever cared about was himself. Getting himself.
Yeah, he died the same way he was born, even pointing out that he was born on a rainy day, like such. And that's how he dies. Even has a little nice quip that I actually like, because earlier in the series he had his arm cut off, and then he goes, I wonder if my arm will be waiting for me in hell. And it's, I don't know, that's it's a cooler way to go out than having your guts spilled out on the floor. So, hey, so of course now that Kobe opened the gates of hell, the angels rightfully say abandon him.
Yeah, we can't hang anymore.
Yeah, basically.
Let's go get drunk.
Yeah. And the remaining fairies are like, okay, man, we're here, we're gonna finish this. And everybody was just like, all right, man, we'll just go back to our corners.
You are banned from Austin.
Yeah, no, that's what the original agreement was. Everybody goes back to their corners, but like Kobe just finally goes like, you know what? No, man.
It's like a boxing match where the ref calls, all right, this is the end of the fight. But the guy turns around and still comes back swinging, and he genocides them. Not all of them.
Just enough to prove a point.
Yep.
And just tells them, Austin, off limits. No more monsters. This is human territory. This is where we live. That's it. It's on lockdown. And yeah, rightfully so. Scares the piss out of the remaining monsters. They all rightfully retreat.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the end of our book, except, and this is where we're going to disagree, Elliot.
What?
Because you know what my theory. So then we have a little epilogue, and it's these three monsters playing around in the forest, and then they are about to approach the line to go into Austin, and then one of the kids rightfully warns the others, like, no, there's a monster living in Austin called the Kobe Man, which is a little silly, and it's basically now that Kobe has basically become their boogeyman.
Right.
He's a fear deterrent. So this other kid wanted to be brave goes, all right, I could go into Austin if I want to. So he's about to step out on the line. Then who shows up but Coyote and grabs the kid and tells him that the Kobe Man is real, that he witnessed it.
Yeah.
And then Coyote looks off, and then the book ends
with Coyote just laughing
at the greatest prank he has ever pulled. And this is where me and you disagree. Because earlier in the series, Coyote had this little line when Kobe was threatening to kill him because he was tired of his shenanigans in his games. And Coyote talks about basically how he's super old and how if he is killed, maybe he'll just come back as something worse and something better. And I think Coyote's full of shit. I just think he is just full of all the shit in the world.
That's the thing. Coyote, for me, I had two favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I loved when Bill the Shadow came on because I felt like something awesome was going to happen.
I think you just like named Bill.
No. But I also loved Coyote because he would always say something awesome. Like, no matter where he was. Like, he was just talking to Yashar at the bar, like, right before the epilogue. And he said, so, of course, I'm life's hard lesson. Mm-hmm. And Yashar asked, well, then what does that make me? And he said, man's road to hell paved with good intentions. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's super true.
Yeah. So, okay. But here's the thing. I don't believe for a moment he is what he says he is.
You think he's just a coyote that can talk?
Yeah. He's smart. I'll give him that. But he does not know this grand truth of the universe, nor is he like this ancient, unkillable being. He's just a bored coyote who found a way to manipulate everybody else. And I respect it. I respect anybody that's able to manipulate everybody just to find a good joke.
That's the thing, though. He said it himself, too. He was talking to Kobe during his old rant.
Yeah.
And he said, you want to know the difference between a good man and a great man?
Mm-hmm.
A good man sees his brothers are ignorant and he tries to correct them. Mm-hmm. A great man uses his brother's ignorance to make the world a better place.
Yeah. Listen, all his talks might, while coming from a place of truth and while could be relatable in some sense, I feel he personally is not on this scale. He just uses these words. Like, you can speak truth, but you don't necessarily have to believe it. Yeah. And that's what I feel Coyote is.
I feel like if we got confirmation either way, I feel like it would take so much from the story.
No, it's part of the fun. It is part of the fun. But I personally believe this was just some guy. This story, and this makes it more entertaining for me, that this whole story, all this conflict, all this death, all this drama, was just some guy's joke. Was just this coyote's joke. That's how I feel. And it's more entertaining to me that way because I do like when somebody takes all these grand scale things and it's to them it's just some small little joke. Yeah. It's like, that's funny.
There are scenes where like Coyote's sometimes he was about to die. Like, Kobe was about to kill him. He was like, I don't see how this is going to stop me from killing you, Coyote. And he's like, Who cares if you kill me, Colby?
Yeah.
There's other stuff you have to worry about, and you can't solve it killing me.
Yeah, and he basically talked himself out of being killed, and that's when I was know for sure that is bullshit. Because here's the thing. If I was Kobe, I would have taken the bet. I would have rolled the dice, because I am a petty individual. I would have rolled the dice on that and just go like, okay, maybe he does come back as something worse. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Just for now, I'm tired of this individual talking, tired of his manipulations, and I'm tired of his games. Let's shut this mouth up and worry about the next mouth later. So, and I feel like that last bit at the end with him just laughing and laughing and how entertained he is. I don't think somebody on a grand and noble mission laughs at the. It's funny. It's amusing for an entire village of these powerful monsters, these fairies. Right. To all live in fear of one single human being, who most likely, Kobe is a human. He will die eventually, for them to just live in eternal fear of this creature. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's amusing to me. That's why I think he too is not. He's just a prankster. He's a comedian who found a big stage.
Oh man.
So anyways, all in all, the book is quite enjoyable.
Right. We've even glossed over some stuff that's pretty important to the plot.
Yeah. You should read it yourself. It's very fun. Okay. Maybe the word fun is not.
It has a lot of. It's a real world environment, so it's not like medieval or where you typically find a lot of magical based things.
Yeah, it's set like I said, all set in Austin, and it does get like really dark and just like mean spirited at times. I said, the whole thing with Abraham, and like if you don't know what I'm talking about, like. Jeez, Louise. Yeah. Ask somebody. Because it is. It is mean. It is a very mean chapter.
Yeah, I remember reading. As a matter of fact, it sort of goes back to that whole Abraham thing. The scene where the Wild Hunt kills the first scene where a Wild Hunt member kills somebody. Mm-hmm. I always thought to myself, wait a minute. I was flipping through the page like, did that actually kill that other guy?
Yeah.
He was a friend. He was Diller's friend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm talking about with Cargil introducing characters and giving them enough backstory, and it's just like, wow, you just did that to kill that person, you jerk. That's what I'm saying.
All right, I'm tired of meeting and getting involved in these new characters, and suddenly having them die.
Yeah, very Game of Thrones. For Game of Thrones, just like, oh well, I like that. Oh well, he's dead, and then he's dead, and basically everybody from the first 20 pages is dead. All right. But anyways, good book, man, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so that's been it. This has been Yusuff.
This is Elliot.
That was the first of our 1,001 reviews. 1,000 more to go.
1 foot in front of the other.